Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more GWENT news today because yesterday we learned via the 2023 GWENT roadmap from CDPR that, well, we are expecting 72 new cards in 2023 split out across 3 expansions. We're still expecting to see the usual tournament events over the course of the year as well. However, most notably, starting in 2024, CDPR has announced that they do not plan to create any new cards for GWENT. And so that means that while theoretically they've said that there's going to be some kind of mechanism through which the players can balance cards, it's not entirely clear how exactly that's going to work or to what extent, even with that capability, players would be able to effectively balance out cards and make sure that the game can still be sustained even after CDPR takes a step or two back from GWENT development and basically just runs the servers, and that's about it. So the question on everybody's mind is, does that mean that GWENT is dead? And first and foremost, let's just say that in 2023, the answer is clearly no, because there are still going to be several new expansions with new cards coming out, and in fact, actually going to be some new cards coming out tomorrow as well, not even included in that 72 that I was just mentioning of the new cards. So should still be lots of new stuff for us to check out over the next year. The question is, given how we now know that there is this red flag that 2024 coming off in the distance where we don't expect there to be much of anything else coming GWENT's way, does that mean that the GWENT player base just gradually trails off and stops playing the game because they know that there isn't going to be much else happening long term? Or do people still stay engaged in the game through 2023 because there's still going to be new cards, and maybe even in 2024 we will still see people continuing to play GWENT because, well, I suppose I should at least say, in my case, I'm of course still very much enjoying playing GWENT. I know there have been a lot of talks amongst the GWENT community as of late about what is the current state of the game. It feels as though perhaps there are a bunch of new cards that have been just increasing the quote-unquote power creep, where seemingly with every new patch we're getting stronger and stronger cards that just make the older cards feel less and less viable, and so even if we might have hundreds of cards in the game, it feels like there are only a handful of decks that ever feel competitive. Well, I think that at least with those new cards coming out this upcoming year, I'm certainly looking forward to getting the chance to try those out and see what they're all about and have some fun with those. And I think, especially given how we tend to play seasonal events on this channel, that means that we're getting the chance to experiment a little bit more with different decks and different rule sets, and that means that it doesn't feel like things are getting as stale as they might be otherwise getting in Standard, because we do have more variety in that way. And I'm still looking forward to making more videos for that reason over the course of 2023, assuming that, of course, well, my health holds up, as that has been the primary thing that's been slowing things down a little bit, as I've lost my voice from, well, creating too many GWENT videos, I suppose, over the past several months or so. But then, of course, in 2024, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with GWENT. I would love to see that the community will continue to stay interested and engaged in the game, and we can continue to sustain enough of a player base that we can continue to play the game. Of course, as I was just saying, at least I tend to play just about exclusively seasonal events, and given how seasonal events, at least in the current day and age, are switching out into a different one every week, I have no idea if that's going to end up happening once 2024 rolls around, if maybe there's just going to be a set rotation that we always see from one week to the next, and so we know indefinitely what the answer is going to be in terms of what seasonal events we're going to see from one week to the next. That would certainly be what I would like to see, or at least something along those lines. Or otherwise, if it's going to be one seasonal event, whatever it is at the end of 2023 that just stays the seasonal event for the rest of GWENT's existence, or if CDPR just says, no, you know what, at this point, we're just not going to have a seasonal event active at all, those would certainly be disappointments to me, and might be the type of thing that would lead me to say, okay, well, in that case, perhaps the time has come, at least for me, to play GWENT. But then, of course, that is still over a year away at this point, so I think there's certainly that temptation. I think a lot of people have probably rushed a little bit, gone a little ahead of ourselves, and assumed, oh, well, that means that, obviously, in that case, that GWENT is dead. Rip GWENT. No, I mean, there's still all those new cards coming out over the course of the next year, and so I think we are definitely getting ahead of ourselves in that case. So let's not get too carried away with all that stuff. Still looking forward to seeing what new stuff we have coming out And from what we can tell from the new cards that just got announced over this past weekend, it looks like there's going to be a lot of strong ones. So I think those will be a lot of fun to use. So, of course, we'll see what happens, but just wanted to get the word out because, as I think a lot of people have been hearing rumors floating around one place or another, people saying, oh, Gwent is dead, Gwent is dead, and the answer is, well, kind of, sort of, but not really. So, in case you're wondering where that all is coming from, again, it was the GWENT 2023 roadmap. The source is directly from CDPR, so it is a legitimate source, not just a rumor. The direct intel is that we are expecting somewhere on the order of 72 new cards in 2023, split out over the course of 3 expansions throughout the year. The usual major tournaments over the course of 2023 as well, but 2023 will be the last year in which we have those tournaments. Then starting in 2024, the CDPR team is not planning to release any new cards, so that is where this reaction is largely coming from. Again, that is a year plus away, though, but no new cards in 2024 or anywhere after, and some system through which the players are supposedly going to be able to do some kind of card balancing. I think that CDPR had said it's not going to be to the same extent that the CDPR team currently has control over the cards, but some way in which the players may be able to, I don't know, maybe alter provision costs, power of cards. I assume we wouldn't be able to completely rewrite card abilities, because at that point I think there would certainly be the potential for things to get really out of hand if, you know, there's a subset of players who have a certain card or set of cards that they really don't like, that they could get carried away and overreact and, you know, overbuff or overnerf them. So that's the kind of risk I think that we run if there is going to be a significant amount of power put into the players' hands. Although in theory it may sound great, it does seem like, hey, you know, we know what we want to see, but at the end of the day, if there are, you know, hundreds or thousands of people all trying to compete for establishing what the correct rule sets, correct abilities should be for cards, then, you know, is there a cohesive image, plan, strategy that ties all those things together, or does it just become an absolute mess of chaos in which there are some cards that get buffed like crazy, others get nerfed like crazy, and there's no sense of balance and things just get worse at that point. So I think that is, of course, the risk in 2024, but that is all a far ways away. And so I think the most important part is just for 2023, we are expecting to see more Gwent as Gwent currently exists, new expansions coming out, new cards coming out. And so I'm looking forward to making that happen. Again, assuming that I remain with a voice that is capable of creating Gwent videos. And so I hope to create more videos with all those new cards, with all those new expansions, and hopefully new events, as we are expecting to see a new seasonal event that was originally planned to come out this past month, but supposedly a new legendary card-only event coming out starting, I believe, tomorrow. So looking forward to seeing that and potentially new seasonal events as well. One thing I should mention is that I believe the CDPR team during that Gwent roadmap video had said that they were sort of soliciting comments, getting some feedback from the community and trying to get a sense for what types of changes they might be able to make to help improve the game before that big transition in 2024. And one thing that I had made a comment of on their video for it, and may proceed to post something on some of the Gwent forums as well, is that as things currently stand, when it comes to playing Gwent against other players, in particular playing against friends, if, say, you were trying to challenge a friend to a match, usually what happens then is that means that if you challenge them, you can only challenge them under the standard rule set. Whereas, of course, as many of you know, every week there is this alternating seasonal rule set, changes every week. There are a bunch of different events that have sometimes very significant rule alterations that open up some interesting combos, some interesting decks that are not seen in any other events. And for me, that's what keeps things really interesting. That's what keeps things fresh. That's why I feel capable of being creative and coming out with new ideas for new decks every week. And that's something that I think is going to be particularly important given how we're going to see that significant transition in 2024. Basically, is the game just going to go completely stale in 2024? Or could we, through something like seasonal events, keep things fresh by alternating the rule set on a regular basis? That feels like that could be a good way to help sustain the Gwent player base. I know, of course, generally speaking, Standard is far and away more popular for people to play than seasonal events are, but I think that is perhaps something that I think it's just because seasonal events have been overlooked. I think, a lot of people may not even realize that seasonal events exist, or have a lot of false perceptions about the way that seasonal events work. They think that it's just a one-dimensional, there's one type of deck that wins out in any events, and that's it type of thing, and at least certainly in the case of Double Down, that is very much not the case. 1 week we're playing a deck that creates a bunch of Weavises combined with the Manticore to destroy all of our opponent's cards in a way that you would be very hard-pressed to be able to pull off in any other event. Otherwise, in the past, we've used this event to go for 1,000-plus point Nilfgaard Kahir combos with Yennefer to boost him up. Just crazy combinations. That's in Double Down, and of course, there are countless other events, over 12 other events as well. And so lots of different ways that I think we can still keep the players interested and engaged by mixing things up and hopefully get the chance to get more people interested in seasonal events. And my point is, as things currently stand, right now, when it comes to when you can challenge other players, other friends, to a match, if you were to do that, you only can challenge them under the standard rule set. You cannot challenge them under seasonal event rule set. So it's impossible to challenge your friend under Double Down, or Dual Casting, or Entrenched, or insert seasonal event here. And what that means is that, for one, if you have a specific deck that you want to play, or specific friend you want to play in that seasonal event, you really can't make that happen, which might be a relatively minor thing in most situations. There are probably not too many times when people are looking to do that. However, the other thing that is sort of an additional component of that is that as there will no longer be any official GWENT run or CDPR run GWENT events after 2023, that's the last year in which we're going to have the GWENT events, then if we're looking for more community events, then it feels like seasonal events are just this big opening, this big opportunity that we've never seen before. At least my knowledge, I've never heard of anyone running a GWENT seasonal event tournament or anything like that. I've had interest in doing it for a while, but it's just never seemed possible because we can't challenge other players to seasonal event rule set matches. And so if that were something that CDPR could implement, then that feels like that could be a way to help sustain the player base more, as I was saying, because that feels like one of the few ways that we can help keep things fresh, even if the cards themselves, there aren't any new ones. Maybe we'll still see some minor adjustments with that player-based balancing mechanisms, but I think that this is perhaps one of the best ways to keep GWENT alive in the long term, even after that transition in which CDPR takes a few steps back in 2024. So if that sounds interesting to you, check out my comments on the GWENT CDPR video for the 2024 or 2023 roadmap, in which I basically outlined what my idea for that would be, and definitely try to draw some attention to that. As I said, I don't know to what extent that is something that the GWENT CDPR developers are looking at all that much for the feedback, or if they prefer to get their feedback via GWENT forums, and so I may end up posting there somewhere as well, but just try to generally get the word out and see if that is something that we could get implemented, because I think there's at least some potential there for that to be a big difference maker. But that's a lot to talk about. As I said, big picture, 2023, 72 new cards, still GWENT events. 2024, no more new cards, no more official GWENT events. Theoretically, some way that the players are able to do some card balancing, but not totally clear how the players will be able to do that and to what extent the players will be able to come up with a cohesive enough strategy and plan to make those balance changes meaningful and not just throw things even more out of whack. I still plan to make more GWENT videos, assuming that my voice holds out, which has been, perhaps a bit of a question mark as of late. But thank you all, I should also say, because of course, this channel has grown tremendously from GWENT and wouldn't be in the place where it currently is if not for all of your support. So thank you so much for that, and I hope to still get the chance to make more GWENT videos. But of course, as there is that chance that GWENT starts to trail off and the player base may begin to wane, we will probably be looking to branch out more into other games, whether they be card games similar to GWENT, or other RPGs like The Witcher, which of course we ended up playing on this channel before we even started playing GWENT. So be on the lookout if you've been having fun checking out the GWENT videos on this channel. We will definitely be looking to experiment a little bit more, and we'll see. Maybe there is some diamond in the rough somewhere, some amazing game, maybe it's a card game, maybe it's a totally different game that it turns out that we've just been not having the chance to check out because we've been so involved in Gwent as of late. But that's a lot. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about 2023 and 2024. So yes, some of it, of course, is not news that we like to hear, but then again, perhaps we can still keep the Gwent community strong looking into 2023 and even into 2024. I'll catch you next time.